I guess genes is part of it. My mother made it to 96, and I had an uncle who made it to 92. So I have term life insurance, so I have to die pretty quick.
Are you going to make it to 100?
I'm going to try. George Burns booked himself right up to that date. I think I'll do the same. It may be a motivation to keep going.
I feel really good. But for 100, you know, people say, what did you do right? And I say, don't ask. I don't know.
Can't put me finger on what lies in store.
Let's go fly higher to the highest height. Let's go fly and set it soar.
Most 100-year-olds need help getting out of a chair. Dick Van Dyke dances between sets at the gym. Let that sink in for a second. While the average man barely makes it to 75, and most centenarians are hunched over walkers, this Hollywood legend is doing sit-ups, swimming laps, and moving like someone half his age.
At 91, he and I were dancing in his backyard. Today, he's still making sweet harmonies with his a cappella group, the Fantastics, and with his beloved wife, Arlene.
She keeps me young because we sing, you know, and we dance, and she just keeps me a teenager.
Hollywood actor Dick Van Dyke just turned 100, and honestly, the number itself isn't what's wild. It's how well his body has held up. His balance, mobility, and mental sharpness completely demolished the idea that aging automatically means falling apart.
I was walking into a hotel lobby the other day, marble steps down to a marble floor. I tripped, fell down the steps, and hit the floor. And everybody come running. I just stood up. Nothing happened. I said, I do this for a living.
So naturally, you have to wonder, is this just incredible genetics? Or is it the result of how he actually lived, the habits he built, the routines he stuck with, the daily choices he made for decades?
I don't feel age at all. I don't feel any different.
In this video, we're going to break down exactly what keeps Dick Van Dyke thriving at an age when most people are long gone. Grab your healthy snacks, because you're about to learn some genuinely useful things that could keep your body working well long after everyone else has given up.
You never planned any of this?
No, I never did. As a businessman, I'm not much good. I would do a movie or something and come home and just sit down, wait for the phone to ring.
Born on December 13, 1925, in West Plains, Missouri, Dick Van Dyke grew up during a time when life demanded resilience. Later on, his family moved to Danville, Illinois, where daily routines were simple, structured, and physically engaging by necessity rather than design. His father, Loren Cookie Van Dyke, worked as a salesman and had a background in music and performance, while his mother, Hazel, worked as a stenographer. Both were funny people. Money was tight, and like many families of that time, they lived simply and within their means. That environment encouraged self-reliance and adaptability from an early age.
I spent most of my time out looking for work and working during those early years. I was raised in a family with no money, so the whole thing was getting some money together.
As a young boy, Dick discovered his passion for entertainment, so he became involved in school programs that required movement and coordination. He sang in choirs and participated in drama, spending long hours standing, projecting his voice, and learning how to control his body on stage. These early experiences quietly trained balance, posture, and endurance, skills that would follow him throughout his life. During World War II, he left high school to join the United States Air Force, where he worked in the entertainment unit. Performing for troops meant long days travel and repeated physical effort, reinforcing discipline and stamina at a young age.
So I was getting like 3 or 4 hours sleep in between. That's the only thing I can remember is working so hard to get going, to get a foothold.
His early life was not without challenges. Dick has spoken openly about growing up around alcohol and later realizing through therapy that he was repeating patterns he had seen in his father. That realization became a turning point, pushing him toward greater self-awareness and healthier long-term choices.
There are a lot of people dying from alcoholism because the rest of us are enabling them to, because there's a stigma about that disease, as you probably know.
His upbringing reflects a life shaped by movement, routine, and responsibility rather than comfort or excess. It wasn't a health plan. It was simply the way life was lived.
And don't forget to keep your fingers crossed. When you find the joy of living is loving and giving, you'll be there when the winning dice are tossed.
But those early years laid a foundation of physical engagement and mental resilience that would support him well into old age.
I still exercise. I go to the gym, and I think that has something to do with keep moving. Well, I wrote a book called Keep Moving.
He's still acting and still hitting the gym.
How often are you hitting the gym?
3 days a week, always have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you credit the work in the gym for being as healthy as you are
Yes,
today?
I do. For being this long-lived, I really do. And I recommend it to everybody.
If there's one thing Dick Van Dyke never stopped doing, it's moving. Even in his late 90s, and now at 100, he's been very open about the fact that he still exercises regularly. Not once in a while. Not when he feels like it, but consistently.
I have some arthritis, but it doesn't bother me because every morning I go to the gym and then I
I
swim.
know.
Yeah.
I
And
used to see you at the gym out in Malibu, and I'd be, there's Dick Van Dyke doing push-ups. There he is doing sit-ups. Whatever he's doing, I want to be doing. Like, you still do all of that stuff.
Oh, I was there this morning, 6 o'clock. Yeah.
Wow.
Every morning.
In his new book, 100 Rules for Living to 100, he said that he works out about 3 times a week. And what's interesting is how relaxed he is about it. There's no obsession with intensity or pushing limits. The goal is simple. Don't let the body get stiff, because if it does, quality of life tanks.
The only thing is I've always exercised. We still go to the gym 3 days a week and work out, and I believe that's the secret. Most people 98 years old don't really feel like working out, and they seize up, they get stiff, and I can still, move pretty well. And I think that must be the secret, because I don't really watch my diet or anything. Stayed skinny, that helps.
At the gym, his routine looks more like a flow than a workout. He moves through different machines, starting with core work like sit-ups, then focusing on his legs, which he once jokingly called 2 of his most important possessions. And instead of stopping to rest between sets, he keeps moving.
And if a person 90 years old is sedentary, starts going to the gym, even if you only do 10 minutes, getting there, I have to have a cup of coffee and go before I talk myself out of it every morning. But if you can do 10 minutes, 12 minutes, that's all.
Sometimes he literally dances. Friends who've watched him train have said he doesn't walk from one machine to another. He dances his way there. Music is always playing, and movement stays light, rhythmic, and fun. That joy matters more than people realize. Stretching is another big part of his routine. He's talked about doing yoga-style movements to stay flexible, knowing that once flexibility goes, everything else becomes harder. For him, staying loose is just as important as staying strong. And then there's swimming. Over the years, he's mentioned swimming laps as part of his routine, a low-impact way to keep his heart strong without punishing his joint. But exercise doesn't stop at the gym. Singing is part of it too.
Singing is the best thing you can do for yourself. Usually I'll wake up with an old tune going through my head. They call her frivolous sow, a peculiar sort of a gal, a wild sort of devil. Oh, dead on the level was my old pal.
That kind of deep, rhythmic breathing keeps the lungs active, supports posture, and helps regulate mood. When paired with light movement, it becomes another form of gentle exercise.
The singing is also the vibration of singing. He's always humming and singing. It's the vibration.
Exercise for him was never about punishment or discipline. It was about staying engaged with his body. He didn't keep moving because he wanted to live longer. He kept moving because he genuinely enjoyed it. And over time, his body rewarded him for that choice.
When you expire, you expire. I don't have any fear of it.
One of the things people notice most about Dick Van Dyke, beyond his being able to work well by himself, is his mindset. When you listen to him talk about getting older, it's obvious that he is not afraid of the things that come with aging. Unlike most people nowadays who would rather die than grow old, he treats it like part of life, something to be embraced, understood, and even enjoyed.
Old age is hard, say it over town. Everything I wish went up started going down.
In interviews leading up to his 100th birthday, Van Dyke has talked about how he sees life as something to be lived, not endured.
The funniest thing is, it's not enough. 100 years is not enough. You want to live more, which I plan to.
That kind of attitude isn't accidental. It's something he's built over decades, shaped by his life experiences, relationships, and career. At a recent Today Show interview, Van Dyke spoke about his book, 100 Rules for Living to 100, describing his approach to life as rooted in optimism, humor, and a willingness to meet each day with a playful attitude.
I never forgot that I look forward to getting up every morning and going to work.
He doesn't talk about longevity like it's some hidden formula. Instead, he talks about joyful engagement, finding reasons to be excited about life every day. That's part of why he still sings, still dances, and still finds wonder in small moments. Positive emotion becomes a kind of fuel, refreshing the mind and body rather than draining them. Another important piece of his mindset is how he handles stress and frustration. Van Dyke has mentioned that he's never really been able to get angry or hate easily, and he believes this emotional calm helped him avoid the destructive effects of chronic stress. Research backs up this idea. People who maintain a positive outlook and manage negative emotions tend to have better long-term health outcomes overall. But his mindset isn't about blind optimism or denial of reality. He acknowledges the challenges of getting older, the physical limitations, the losses, the changes.
Acutely aware that I'm, could go any day now, but I don't know why. It doesn't concern me. I'm not afraid of it. I have that feeling, totally against anything intellectual I have. I'm going to be all right.
He also credits the people around him, especially his wife, Arlene, for keeping his mind sharp and his heart open.
She kept me young. She gives me energy, she gives me humor, and all kinds of support.
Ultimately, Van Dyke's longevity mindset boils down to a simple truth: enjoy the ride. He doesn't fight aging, he participates in it, with laughter, curiosity, and a refusal to let fear dictate his life. That quiet, consistent choice to embrace life day after day may be one of the strongest contributors to his long, fulfilling years.
I'm not afraid of it. I have that feeling, totally against anything intellectual I have, that I'm going to be all right.
One of the most mind-blowing things about Dick Van Dyke, beyond his exercise and movement habits, is how he has stayed professionally active throughout his life. For most people, retirement feels like a finish line. For him, it has never been an endpoint. It's been a transitional platform, something that keeps his mind sharp, his body engaged, and his sense of purpose alive. In interviews about turning 100, Van Dyke has talked about why he stays involved with work and projects he cares about. In a conversation about his book and life philosophy, he reflects on how doing what he loves stopped feeling like work a long time ago. Instead, it became something that keeps his mind active, gives him something to look forward to, and gives him a reason to get up every day.
I got to do for a living what I would have done for nothing.
This matters for health in more ways than we think. Work, especially creative work, challenges the brain. Planning, remembering lines, speaking with purpose, and staying socially connected all support cognitive function. People who stay mentally active tend to maintain sharper memory and clarity longer. And Van Dyke's ongoing interest in his career and ideas seems to have helped him stay mentally agile even as he reached a century of life.
And all of a sudden I was dancing. It was like flying. Where has this been all my life? And started singing and haven't stopped. Just amazing.
There's another side to this too. Being active at work means staying connected socially. Interviews, projects, and creative collaborations bring people together, which research shows is a powerful support for emotional and physical health. People with strong social ties tend to live longer and recover more quickly from stress than those who are isolated. And Dick Van Dyke's consistency in staying professionally connected seems to give him both purpose and community.
Well, I try not to by making new friends, getting involved in a lot of things, try to keep busy.
So his work isn't just a career, it's part of a lifestyle that keeps his mind sharp, his heart engaged, and his life full of relevance. In a world where people who are advanced in age are being isolated, it's better to be active in your career or whatever it is you love doing so you don't get swept away into isolation.
I'm on my third generation. I'm getting letters from little kids, and that is what I love, that they watch the movies over and over. No, I'm getting so much more mail today than I did during the heyday of my career.
If there's one thing to take away from Dick Van Dyke's incredible journey, it's this: staying active, curious, and engaged isn't just for the young. It's a mindset that can carry you well into your later years. From dancing between workouts, swimming laps, singing throughout the day, to embracing every opportunity for creative work, Dick shows that longevity isn't about luck, it's about choices.
Get your living done first, and have the nerve to try something. Failure's okay.
His consistency, joy, and refusal to slow down are lessons for anyone who wants to live fully. Take a page from his book and move, laugh, and stay curious every single day.
People are more afraid of aging than they are death these days. And we need to tell them there's a lot of good living to do.